Hi there, it's Anna Marika Gerritsen, the endometriosis nutritionist. And in today's episode, episode 9, we're going to talk about a very important nutrient that is key to help support your immune system, but is very hard to get from food or even supplements. So what we're going to talk about is vitamin D. And it's firstly just a fun fact, vitamin D is actually not a vitamin, it's a hormone. But I don't know why we call it a vitamin. And so vitamin D plays a number of roles in the body, in bone growth, because it carries calcium to the bones. But it also, and this is where the interest for us is, it helps to regulate the immune system. And what we found in a number of studies is that vitamin D helps with make sure that T cells and B cells, the key cells that are involved in the immune system and that you have as part of your immune system some issues with, these cells are able to respond to vitamin D. And so that's the way that vitamin D is involved in fighting and protecting against infection. We've also know that vitamin D deficiency is often found in people with autoimmune diseases like inflammatory bowel disease. Now I know endometriosis is not an autoimmune disease, but it is a disease that includes the immune system. So there must be a connection there. And I wonder if a lot of women with endometriosis might have a vitamin D deficiency. So considering that inflammation is at the key of endometriosis, having healthy vitamin D levels is really important to calm down the growth of T and B cells, to reduce the production of inflammatory cytokines, which we've mentioned here and there. So there's cells that are part of the immune response, and increase the production of anti-inflammatory cytokines. Now, that's all nice, but it's important to know, how does your body get the right amounts of vitamin D? So the best way to get vitamin D is just expose unprotected skin to the sun. And if you put sunscreen on, it just doesn't work as well. When that happens, so the sun hits the skin, unprotected skin, then the ultraviolet light in sunlight turns into pre-vitamin D3 in your skin. And then body heat creates a version that is transported via your bloodstream to the liver. And in the liver, it is turned into another form of pre-vitamin D, which goes to the kidneys, and there active vitamin D is produced. And if the body produces too much vitamin D, it gets stored in fat cells, so the body can then break that down later. So it's a bit of a process, but the best way for it to happen is through just skin exposure. Now, you may or may not be vitamin D deficient, but interestingly, despite the fact that we live in a country where there is so much sunshine, we have a large percentage of people that are vitamin D deficient, either because they don't spend enough time outdoors in the sun, or because when they do, they're covered up with clothes and sunscreen to prevent skin cancer, which is absolutely key. But we need to strike a balance between being at risk of getting skin cancer and getting healthy levels of vitamin D. Now, a lot of people go, well, then let me take a supplement. Well, unless you've been shown to be vitamin D deficient, I wouldn't recommend you take a vitamin D supplement, because too much vitamin D increases high levels of calcium in the blood, which can lead to horrible kidney stones. So we don't want that. Also, a part of your endometriosis is that you will have digestive problems. We talked about leaky gut, which means that there is not a lot of surface area in the gut to absorb nutrients. And so absorbing vitamin D from food as supplements is not going to be very effective. So you'll need to take even more vitamin D to get to healthy levels. And why spend money on something when there is something out there that's for free? So I really recommend, when you, as a part of your vitamin D, as part of your approach to dealing with endometriosis and starting to feel better, is to spend time outside every day. About 10 to 20 minutes, unprotected skin, preferably early in the morning. Where I am now, it's winter, so the sun is not that strong, so you can maybe leave it till lunchtime, but really 10 to 20 minutes, unprotected skin. If you use sunscreen, you need longer. And so allow your skin to do what your digestive system probably isn't able to do effectively. And so if you think you may be vitamin D deficient, or you think it would be useful to know whether you are or not, you can go to your GP to get a blood test, or you can contact me to get a referral form to get a blood test done. But in the meantime, really take the fact that we have all this sun out in Australia, and go outside. Spend some time, let your body do what one of the parts that your body is still working really well, is taking your skin is taking vitamin D, making it from the sun, and so use that. Be thankful for some part of you that is working quite well, but is really important to help calm down the immune system. So challenge to you, every day, 20 minutes, go sit outside, go for a walk. It will not only produce vitamin D, but it will also do you a world of good in terms of stress relief. You'll find that especially if you go for a walk, you'll feel a little bit more alert, and it's good for your mood as well. Of course, if you're feeling horrible on days that you really can't even get out of bed, don't worry about it. But when you're feeling okay, make sure that you do go outside. And even on an overcast day, you will be able to get some ultraviolet light. Funny story. So some of you may know, I'm originally from the Netherlands, and we do not get a whole lot of sunshine. And when I came to Australia, actually it will be on August 5th will be my 30-year anniversary in Australia. But when I came to Australia, it was winter, and for me, winters are cold and gloomy and dark. And so when I came here, I had trouble with the light. It was so intense, and I had constant pain in my eyes. It was really hard. But also, I kept burning. And of course, you can see I don't really have very good skin for Australia. I burn easily anyway. But I just couldn't work out why, even on an overcast day, because I remember going for a walk on an overcast day, and I came back and it was like, oh, it's overcast, I don't need sunscreen. I came back and I was burnt like you wouldn't believe. And so it took me a long time to get used to the intensity of the light here and the power of the sun here. Of course, I know it's because we've got this hole in the ozone layer, but in this case, in terms of getting enough vitamin D, it is your friend. So go outside 10 to 20 minutes each day, out in the sun, or at least out in the light, and start making sure that you have enough vitamin D. One of the good things about if you get too much vitamin D, your body stores it, but it's very hard to get too much vitamin D from just sunshine. Your body regulates that much better than if you were to take supplements and then get too much. Your body finds it much harder to regulate properly. So go out there, spend some time outside, and enjoy a bit of relaxation because it will do you more good than just vitamin D, but definitely for vitamin D. That's it for this episode. I will see you next week. Bye for now.